As a woman, I've been a leader in my industry for many years. And yet there's one phrase from my childhood that still echoes in my mind. Having daughters is a curse. We would have been blessed if we had sons. This is the family environment that I was brought into. Very strict, very controlling, very oppressive. What some might say, typical Asian parents. I could feel in my body, energetically at a young age, that I was not in a safe environment. But I couldn't yet articulate why that was. It wasn't until my teen years that I was over at a friend's house and I could feel how different their home felt. It was warm, it was supportive, and it felt very loving. My friend's father was a psychiatrist, and the way he approached the things happening in my family made me feel safe in a way that I didn't feel in my own home. At one point, my friend's parents tried to approach my parents about what was going on in our home. The way that they made me feel seen, understood, and advocated for me was a very beautiful and profound experience. However, my parents were naturally very resistant. They were unwilling to let anybody intervene in our family. This is just how things are done. Having daughters is a curse. We would have been blessed if we had sons. I'd like to invite you into the possibility that, as a leader, no matter how well-intentioned you are, someone in your environment may be suffering in ways that you do not realize. And I guarantee that this disproportionately affects women and marginalized people. And it shows up as internalized emotional labor. I am Béla Robbins, and I grew up in New York in an immigrant family that has deep generational, cultural, and religious beliefs. At 18, I was accepted into a 7-year medical program, which is what my parents wanted for me. And it turns out that wasn't what I wanted. But being a daughter in my family, I was unable to make that choice for myself. So I found myself in the role of a tax consultant. I started out as an administrative assistant and worked up to working with the CEO and doing the company's books. I remembered my deep love for math and numbers and how in high school I was obsessed with my AP calculus classes. So I decided to pursue my own path and I decided to pursue finance. Finance is where my agency met my aptitude. I loved it, I absorbed it, and I excelled in my studies. I've worked for many firms over the past 20 years. I've worked in client services, I was a financial advisor, and I've done investment due diligence. I've held many management roles in operations, compliance, and business development. And eventually, I managed 120 advisors across the US. And as I was working with these advisors, what I started noticing was that their infrastructure was not matching the pace of their growth. Infrastructure was minimized, leaving nobody accountable for building the structures that these advisors' practices depended on. Here's what I've learned. There are huge gaps that lead to predictable breakdowns in firms led by well-meaning people. My gift is creating trusted relationships and bringing disciplined process design in order to create sustainable growth, satisfaction, to clients, employees, and firm owners. Here's what's possible. If you're in a firm where you feel like things are chaotic, everything funnels back to you, and control is somehow always out of reach, this is your opportunity to put thoughtful structure in place. With clear accountability and integrity, you can increase your bottom line, reduce risk, and stop unintentional harm from occurring, which will increase productivity. You stop the quiet leakage that undermines businesses and also undermines the people within them. In one recent client engagement, by putting simple processes in place, we were able to change the firm's trajectory. They were able to double their assets and therefore double their income. And if this sounds good to you, here's how you can get started. Ask yourself this one question to see where the opportunities lie. What part of the work that you're responsible for do you avoid? That you know deep down is not the highest and best use of your unique gifts, because that's where the opportunity lies. That's where the weaknesses and structure need to be built. because that avoidance is a signal to exactly where the real gaps are. When you design systems that do not cause harm and create environments with accountability, trust, safety, and agency are no longer aspirational. They are structural and they are standard. That's my wish for you and my wish for the world. And it was precisely what I was seeking as a young girl, to have trust, safety, and agency in my environment. After more than 2 decades in the finance industry, I've seen this pattern repeat time and time again. Leaders don't fail because they lack values. They fail when they overlook the hidden risks of when structure is missing. I believe that business ownership is unequivocally a responsibility to create an environment where people can do their best work and thrive without harm. And if a business owner doesn't believe that's part of their job, they might be building a business, but that growth won't be sustainable, and in my opinion, is not embodying being an ethical leader, and that distinction matters. My work is for leaders that not only want to build businesses that are profitable and accountable, but businesses that are worthy of loyalty from their clients, employees, and the communities that they serve. When trust and the expectation that people will be seen and protected are built into the system, that impact ripples outward and goes farther beyond any single organization, becoming the enduring standard that we all lead with.